Hey nerds, welcome to episode 68 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. This week on the show, Darren and I talk about the reboot of a Patrick Swayze classic from the 80s. We get some dynamite news from the land of Tom Cruise, including a potential Les Grossman spinoff, Pelea. We also discuss some Flash news as well as some casting updates from the Russo brothers' upcoming sci-fi film, The Electric State. Sony might have also given us a reason to care about the Madame Web movie. We wrap up the show with some dynamite nerd box questions, including one about time travel, and our very own Meg asks us a question about fans and their theories. Are they helpful or not? Ready, hit it.
Episode of the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Stemple, and you know my co-pilot, Eric Hare.
Hello, fellow nerds.
Hello, fellow nerds.
Hello, fellow nerds. My nerd voice did get called out by Megan Peaches.
I have always loved your nerd.
My nerd voice.
It's so spot on. She was
put a banana in the tailpipe.
She's so right about that. Yeah. You can find us on social media like Twitter, TikTok, this little website called Instagram, and YouTube, all at the Nerd Rundown. And while you're there, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave a comment, even you audio only people. If you could take a moment out of your day and hop on YouTube.
I know y'all. I know all y'all are on Instagram. I know you guys are on Instagram or whatever, so you can just literally drop something in there or whatever. So yeah, leave a comment. Take a picture of your dirtiest stuff and send it to us. Tag us, whatever.
Oh yeah,
add us.
We would love to see that.
Yeah.
Even if it's your lawn. Can you beat Eric's lawn? That's
Can you?
I don't think you can. Magnificent, magnificent yard, by the way.
Thank you.
And then per the usual, you can find us on all the major podcast services. Interesting rundown this week. So we got some really eclectic stuff. No, I'm joking. We're going to start with the reboot news of the year, maybe reboot news of a very, very special place in my heart movie. Eric, they're going back to the 80s. They're taking some of those stories. This one, I'm crazy for Swayze. Dalton, Roadhouse is being rebooted. Jake Gyllenhaal, as he says it's pronounced. Jake Gyllenhaal will be starring in the role as a former UFC fighter who then goes down to the Florida Keys, becomes a bouncer, finds some degenerate stuff, and then does his thing. This movie will also star Conor McGregor. It will also star Daniela, I'm going to butcher her name, Melchior. Daniela Melchior, you would know her as Ratcatcher 2 in The Suicide Squad. Or is it Suicide? I don't remember which one.
The Suicide Squad.
It's the
Suicide Squad.
Which that's probably the signal as to why everything is the
right.
The Batman. The mutants.
The Batman.
So Jake Gyllenhaal in the Dalton role, actually not confirmed. His name's going to be Dalton.
Right.
Like Patrick Swayze. Honestly, I hope they don't.
Right. Yeah.
This could be a different. Maybe it's in the same universe and it's canon to Roadhouse.
Right. Yeah. If they don't name the bar the Double Deuce, I'm going to be upset. So.
That's such a good name. Man, I love Roadhouse, Eric.
So great.
I know you hate when Hollywood's out of ideas and you hate reboots. Do you think this could be a good thing?
No, but I mean, first of all, it's an Amazon
the
original.
YouTube viewers on this one, and you missed out on that audio, on that reaction audio only. People.
It's an Amazon original movie, so I don't know. That to me originally kind of tips it off. Not that it's like a Netflix. I think Amazon maybe has, at least in my eyes, maybe has a little bit better reputation for the Amazon original movie stuff, but they also don't produce as much as Netflix does, so they don't have as big of a chance to mess it up. So,
True.
So, Gyllenhaal, I like the dude. He's gonna do, I know he's gonna do a great job, like getting himself into shape for it, and he's gonna look great. He's gonna be all in on that side. If Conor McGregor isn't like the villain, or at least the muscle for the villain, I'm gonna be upset. Right? Like he needs.
Is he the guy that's gonna get his throat?
Yeah, basically. So
throat taken out.
But yeah, so I think that's gonna be of interest to me to see how Conor McGregor handles that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, it's hard, man. I mean, you're talking Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott together in a movie where they both kick some ass. How are you gonna do better than that? I don't.
And what's the actress from that movie? Because she was, I'd watch her paint the wall.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she was smoking hot.
What was her name?
I can't remember.
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. So anyhow, I'm not all excited about it. I do know that Joel Silver is a good producer and he'll do a good job of producing the movie. I just maybe make it another movie that's like Roadhouse, but don't call it Roadhouse. Like that's my problem.
That's there you go. That's the right idea.
Yeah. Like
Kelly Lynch.
Hey, we're gonna make a movie that's loosely based on Roadhouse, but and
yeah, it doesn't need to be Roadhouse.
Yeah, it doesn't. Right? You don't need to remake that. Like you gonna do better?
This byline.
Like if they don't have a Bigfoot that runs over other people's cars, like a Bigfoot truck and runs over other people's cars, again, I'm going to be disappointed, or at least some sort of nod to a Bigfoot truck, rolling over.
Seriously. Yeah. There's gotta be, how they do it these days with like the callbacks. Yeah. I like this byline. The new take follows a former UFC fighter, Yilin Ho, who takes a job as a bouncer at a rough and tumble roadhouse. Because why would you go to a nice bar?
Yeah,
you got to go to a rough and tumble roadhouse.
Yeah, is there any other type of
but soon
bar?
Discovers, but soon discovers that not everything is what it seems in this tropical paradise.
I'm sure somebody's smuggling drugs. I'm sure there's some sort of drug smuggling.
I think there's another reboot on that just came out this past weekend. That when I didn't cover it on the rundown because I was mad about it, because I saw a preview for it and I was like, you're not. There's no chance of you doing better than the original. But a League of Their Own series came out on Amazon.
Really?
This past weekend, yeah. And it's just like, it wasn't advertised real well. I don't know, who knows? But I saw that preview and I was like, nope. You're not going to do better than original.
Yeah, how do you do better than Gina Davis and Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks, and even
with the
Frank Marshall as as the main guy there. What's his name? Frank Marshall. Was the one who ran the whole, he was like represented the owners or whatever, and then gosh, man, there were so many good actors, even Madonna
was in that.
Madonna, and as much as
Rosie.
I feel Rosie O'Donnell, I'll just say Rosie O'Donnell was in it also, but there was that is a classic.
What a score! Bill Pullman was in it.
Yeah, I forgot Bill Pullman. Yeah, he played Gina Davis's
husband. Yeah,
husband, and
John Lovitz.
Yeah,
Gary
John
Marshall.
Lovitz. I forgot
David
Strathairn. Yeah, David Strathairn. Yeah, gosh, he's so great. He's so great.
He was so good.
Yeah.
Who did you say?
Gina Davis,
owner of
Frank Marshall.
Owner...
Frank Marshall.
Oh, you mean Gary Marshall?
Oh, Gary Marshall. Yeah, you're right. Gary
yeah.
Marshall. Yep. Sorry.
I was just like,
yep.
I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just my mind was like, anyway.
Yeah.
Back to Roadhouse. I don't know. Nope. Right now.
Yeah, I'm a nope. We'll see what the trailer looks like, and we'll see, as kind of details come out. But again, Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah. They don't have a lot of Amazon Prime original movies right now, or if any.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm wrong.
The last thing
they have
watched
some great
from
series.
them was Without Remorse from the movie side, and I wasn't.
Oh, that was a movie.
I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, I was not disappointed by Without Remorse.
That may have been their first.
I thought that was Michael C. Hall. I thought it was really, or not Michael.
I need to watch that still.
Michael.
Which you also need to watch The Terminal List on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, The Terminal List is really good.
Oh, did you watch it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, we haven't. You didn't tell me. We haven't talked.
Oh yeah. That's one series that I did watch, and it was bonkers.
What a great show!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a great show! Go out and watch that, people. Go out and watch on Amazon Prime. Chris Pratt.
Like you've never seen him before. I'll just say you've never seen him before like this.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible job. And you've definitely seen him badass, but he's like on another level badass in this.
Yep.
And it's awesome. All right. Next on the rundown, I know this excites you on so many levels because
Michael
Tom
B.
Cruise
Jordan.
fan.
I said Michael C. Hall, and it's Michael B. Jordan.
I knew who you were talking about,
Yep.
and then I went to Breakfast Club. I'm like, he definitely didn't mean Michael C.
No, I did not.
So, Michael B. Jordan.
Anthony Michael Hall is the one you're thinking of. Michael C. Hall is the guy from is the dude from Dexter. Michael C. Hall, I think, is the guy from Dexter. I think is who.
I actually wonder if that's his whole name. Look that up. I think you're right. I think it's Michael C. Hall.
Yep.
So next on the rundown. No, you're fine.
Yeah, Michael C. Hall. Yep.
Man, I haven't watched that new season of Dexter. Just can't do it. Tom Cruise news. We got some Tom Cruise news.
Yay.
Maybe a new section called Tom Cruise news. Tom Cruise and his.
We need like a jingle for it, like a sound effect.
Yeah, Jason, get
it's,
on. Get
Tom
on.
Cruise news.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, right.
Tom Cruise and his director partner, Chris McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Who he's been with on the Mission Impossible movies and future Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah.
They are teaming up and they're developing a new action thriller.
Yep.
No details, just a new action thriller and what that tells me is Ethan Hunt's dying in part 2 of the number 8. Not this upcoming one, but it's part 1 and part 2,
And I got no problem with that.
I think he's going to die.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Dude lived through some stuff. That, or I'd like to see him run off into the sunset with his wife that he had to leave, or with Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah, I don't think the Rebecca Ferguson thing is happening. I think
I feel like they were kissing in this last trailer.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I clearly have not seen this. No spoilers, just watched it. She for sure is dying.
Rebecca Ferguson.
I think she dies in this, and I think that's what pushes him to do whatever. I think she gets killed in this.
And then that's why he has Peggy Carter.
Exactly. Yep.
As the love, maybe not a love interest. Anyway.
Yes, sir.
What a hot movie that's going to be! I can't wait.
Oh man, yeah.
So they're developing a new action thriller.
Yep.
So that's
with franchise potential.
Of course, because money's got to come from somewhere.
You know what? You move him.
Mission Impossible money's.
So here's a question.
Wait, let me finish this real quick.
Yeah, okay.
Let me finish this real quick.
Okay.
Because it's really important we get through the third one.
Well, of course, yes, yeah.
So they're developing an action thriller,
yep,
a musical, and a mother effing Les Grossman spinoff. And for those less educated than Eric, Les Grossman is Tom Cruise's amazing cameo in the movie Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
And stole the show in that movie.
Totally.
Maybe one of the top 3 cameos of all time in a movie. Okay.
His career.
Exciting news.
Yeah. So, all right. So I want to go back to.
Go back.
I want to go back to. Oh, sorry about the microphone there. I'll go back to the franchise original action film with franchise potential. So I'm curious if maybe that's just Ethan Hunt is no longer the action guy, and maybe they're just saying it's an original with franchise potential because they're moving Ethan away from being in the field and putting him in charge like Mr. Phelps, from the first movie where he actually is the guy running the...
Who's returning.
Right. But they're just calling it original, and so he will return, but he just returns in a different...
That'd be cool.
In a different position. Like he's the guy pulling the strings.
Can Ethan Hunt sit on his ass, though?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But, the dude can only do action movies for so long. The original song and dance, okay.
Yeah,
I'm interested. I'm interested. Like I'll watch it. I did not know that Tom Cruise could sing and dance, but I
knew he could dance. The dude, he could dance.
Well, yes, I did know he could dance, but I did know, I didn't know they sing. And you know what? With auto-tune, everybody can sing. So everybody's a good singer. So
oh wait, did he sing in that rock movie he was in? That's a movie that I always forget he was in.
I know he played guitar. I know he played like the guitar, and he was like, because I
don't think I ever saw it.
Yeah, I don't think I ever watched it, but I know he did play the guitar in it and everything. So, and then the Les Grossman, this news makes me so happy. Like happy. I can't do this. Makes me happy. I can't do the imitation, but the Les Grossman stuff just, oh my gosh. Because when Tropic Thunder came out,
you think Matthew McConaughey will be part of it?
Yeah,
too?
that was yeah. Gosh, please. When Tropic Thunder came out in 2008, Cruise's career was not in the best of places because of some things that had kind of gone on with him off. Like he did the Oprah thing, and he just came off really strange in the Oprah stuff.
We call it the Vanilla Sky era. It's okay. Everybody has one.
Right. And so, he just was not in a good place. He was not in a good place for where his career was. And for him to sneak in a cameo all done up in makeup, I mean, he had like really fat hands and hair, like they had hair
really
all over.
Hands.
He's balding, and I think it took me, I want to say that first scene, it probably took me a good 15 to 30 seconds to figure out it was him, like I knew it was somebody, and I'm like,
it's like one of those like, oh, who's that?
Yeah, I'm like, who is that? And then the way
he dances in there, he dances in that one.
Him and Bill Hader, I think, because Bill Hader is his assistant in that, I think, and oh my gosh, and they just like and. Like Matthew McConaughey plays such a great straight guy in that scene, because he's just like, I'm talking G5, and he's like, it's like, and then Bill Hader and behind he's like, baller. Like, oh my gosh.
Tom Cruise has such good comedic timing. I'm really surprised he hasn't done a comedy. I obviously outside of this is a cameo. I mean, where he's like, he's really great in interviews. He's so funny. If you go on YouTube and watch the Graham Norton clips, the Graham Norton show. He's a great storyteller.
He really is, like Graham Norton. When he's on Graham Norton, I think that's what I love about Graham Norton more than anything is that your guests, like with like, not that I don't like Fallon or Kimmel or any of those other guys. I love Fallon, and but
Fallon's great.
They're so like regimented, and like they very rarely get a real opportunity, and all the stories are like I don't know. They're
it's like Graham Norton does the least amount of talking on his show.
Yes,
you know?
yeah. But like all the stories of
questions to bring out the stories.
Yeah, when you're on Jimmy Kimmel, like, you know, if or on Fallon, they it feels like the stories are like pre-set up. It's like, hey, I want you to tell this story, and you know, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, so I'll set that up for you, you know. Whereas like I feel like Graham Norton, he leads people in certain directions because sometimes he's like I heard a story about you doing this, and it's like, okay, you know, like Chris Pratt, like I've seen Chris Pratt do the magic stuff, you know, like
that is a great one,
you know, where Chris Pratt does the card. He's like, is this your card? He's like, no, it's all right. I told you I needed 4 chances. You know?
that is what probably a top 3 Graham Norton clip.
It's great, but that's one of the great things about
Jennifer Lawrence's face in them.
And I've seen him on he also was really good when he was with on what is the auto one that they do that they used to be on the British auto one where they race cars and they do all that stuff.
Gear.
He did a really great interview with those guys too.
Gear.
Yeah, Top Gear. Top Gear. Yeah. So he was so funny in that.
He can do anything, and again, we understand why people have a certain feeling towards Tom Cruise, Scientology with his Vanilla Sky era.
Right.
Dude has given me more happiness than 99% of people in Hollywood. So what do you do with your personal life? That's your own thing.
Yeah.
If you're on the screen entertaining me, thank you. That's what I need you there for. So very exciting.
The Les Grossman stuff. If you're on YouTube, like just do a Les Grossman. You know, like I was just thinking it's just where's the key grip? The guy in the back.
I have to go back and watch it.
I want you to go over to the director and punch him in the face really freaking hard.
I do remember that.
And the key grip's like, sorry, man. You know, and
I need to watch that movie again. It's been about 12 years since I've seen it.
There are so many gems that that whole movie is stacked top to bottom with just pure talent. You know, and like Stiller, Jack Black, in probably his most
RDJ,
one of his most least annoying roles ever. Jack Black was in that one.
That's a really good point.
And that one and what's the other movie he did? The Jumanji movies. He was not really annoying.
He was because he couldn't be Jack Black.
He couldn't be. He had to be somebody else. Yeah.
He had to be a female.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, like Robert Downey Jr., Jay Baruchel. I'm trying to think.
My birthday buddy.
Brandon T. Jackson was so funny as Al Pacino. Like his name's Al Pacino. That's amazing. He was so good at it. Steve Coogan, who is the director of the movie, so good. And then Danny McBride, Bill Hader, Tom Cruise.
Love Danny McBride.
What's his name? Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte's role in that movie is so good.
Nick Nolte's. Man, I need to watch it again.
Yeah. Right. It's just great. It's just really great. Top to bottom, it's a really good movie and could not be made or would not be made today. I can tell you that much. 14 years, that's how much things have changed. This movie could not be made. And yeah. It's crazy, but good stuff. All right, so let's see. Kind of switching gears. Let's move to number 3 on the list. So last week, you and I talked about The Flash, and so we discussed multiple options, so to speak, of what they were going to do, or whether or not we even thought the movie was going to be released at all. So officially, they came out with news of basically Warner Brothers, DC, and all of them have kind of Discovery, because we have to throw Discovery in there now too, because it's Warner Brothers Discovery. But they basically came out and said they have 3 different scenarios that they are looking at for what's coming for the future of this. So the first is that, and I think this is just be part of it anyhow, like no matter what happens.
I mean, seriously.
The first is that Miller is going to seek professional help, which again, I think that's going to happen, whether that's going to be court ordered or it's going to be either voluntary or court ordered. But I have a feeling it's going to be court ordered no matter what anyhow. So, but he needs to seek professional help. He needs to make like a public apology and like make some sort of, come out and like a mea culpa. Hey, I was pretty stressed. I don't know what's going on. Like the whole go to rehab and then come
Josie
out.
Smollett.
Go to rehab. Come out and be like, hey man, I screwed up. Can I come back and have my job?
This is why I was weird.
Yeah. So, and he needs to, like I said, he needs to seek professional help. If he doesn't, the second option I think is if he doesn't seek help, the movie could still be released, and so that'll be, he'll like go around and tour everybody and say, promote the film, and I'm sorry, I apologize, blah blah blah. Second is they still release the movie. He doesn't do the apology tour. He doesn't do all that stuff. Like I said, he goes through the court system, all that nonsense. So the third scenario, and this would be kind of the end of the line, is they'll do what they did with Batgirl, which is they will scrap the whole film and it'll never be released. So
yeah,
considering what we talked about last week, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, because like we did talk about kind of some of those scenarios, at least the two of them releasing the film,
right? Yeah,
with or without him, and then the possibility that they could scrap the whole thing. So what are your thoughts with now that they've laid out, really kind of officially said that they're gonna, these are the three options they have? So
I am very happy to be getting a second chance at using one of my favorite words that I missed out last week, and I was so mad at myself. Something nefarious is going on behind this whole Batgirl situation.
Yeah.
And of course, that conversation led us to the Flash conversation. So to get a follow-up on this is actually also kind of good to close the loop on it. But honestly, you're right. He needs to seek help no matter what, because it's just story after story of disturbing behavior. He, sure, go ahead on TV and explain your behavior like that means something.
Sure, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
The second scenario of it being released, but him not factoring into the publicity of the marketing and they do those press tours, and he would not be a part of that, and then he would not be cast as as Barry Allen in future projects.
Right.
Obviously. That's very applicable. And then it being canned altogether is probably the route they should just go, in my opinion.
You think
and
it is the
really
right?
Sad.
You think it is the right thing?
I think they've already taken steps to make it okay. Yeah. They've already removed Michael Keaton from the other DC projects,
right?
And this was supposed to be their multiverse. Like, we're gonna, show that there's a multiverse in the DC, and it's going to bring in characters, and we're going to bring it all together, and it will have a new starting point. So that sucks that they wouldn't have that. They could also just, like you said, and Captain Tessel said, you brought up such a great point of just tell standalone stories for DC. We don't need to have a connected universe. They've already shown they suck at it. So I'm of the mind, you know what? Without Michael Keaton as, being able to bring him into more DC projects, that was the only thing I was excited for this movie. And now that we're not getting that, I won't miss this movie 1 second. I'm really sorry to the Flash fans out there, because the Flash is such an awesome character. Wally West really was the big one, but Barry Allen's really came up in the last 12 years with the TV show, with the Zack Snyder Flash version is Barry Allen as well, and the comics from the DC 52, the new DC 52 that we talked about a while back. Barry Allen was the man, and he's such a cool character. He's so freaking powerful and so underrated. I mean, he's almost overpowered to a certain degree, but it kind of goes along with the saying, like, you're not going to do better than the original. If you're not going to put out a good project or a good piece of material, don't do it.
Yeah.
I think that ties into a conversation you and I had. I don't remember if it was during the show or after the show, or it was just like, I think that was that day we went to the lake when we were like, they greenlight some awful shit.
Yeah.
You know, and they won't greenlight some amazing stuff. And it's just like, fine.
Yeah.
You know what? Embrace that and don't release this. And you know what? Find a new way to bring the Flash into the world.
Yeah. You know, I saw, seeing if I could find the article. I did see a story earlier today that was actually on that very thing where they talked about, hey, you know, they're thinking of getting, and I'll see, maybe I'll have to pull it up at another time because I don't see it right this very moment, but there
scrapping
is
$200 million movie is very unprecedented. It's never been done before, but you know what?
Well,
it'll hurt their bank accounts for a day.
Yeah, well, and they're insured on that stuff. They're insured too. They have
That's
insurance
true.
on that, and
I think that still pays, you know, at least a good portion of the people. I know, you know, people still get their money.
Yeah, and the studio is going to get.
I hope
the studio is going to get it. So, I think what's going to be interesting is we do know that they have recently added a scene at the end of Black Adam, a closing credits scene that was not originally in it. And so since the cancellation of Batgirl, I have seen stories that they have added this post-credit scene after the cancellation of Batgirl and after all the stuff with Ezra Miller. And so my understanding is that scene sets up a new universe that changes things for the DC stuff and moves it maybe away from the superhero, you know, like the Superman, Batman stuff, and sets up Black Adam as more of the center of their DC universe. So,
oh, that better be a good movie then.
We'll see. Yeah.
But
we did say
it's tough.
We did, I did say last week, and I think the dude in charge, I think the dude that's in charge of Discovery,
now you say this, I remember you saying this. What you said is he's not going to put up with bad stuff.
Yeah.
But here's where going back to my word nefarious.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff, i.e. the Flash, that's not been canceled yet.
Yeah.
And I know that's a much bigger investment. It's, it's $110 million more dollars.
Right.
But there is a Black Canary movie in the works, and she comes from the Birds of Prey movie. Like, I think there's just something more nefarious going on than it didn't test well. So, because again, not even releasing it to streaming.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I really don't. I was trying to find that piece, and maybe if I can find it, I'll add it in the show notes somewhere. I should have tagged it as something to go over, but yeah, you might be right. There might be some tomfoolery, shenanigans, or
all good words too.
Thank you. Something going on. So, I'm not sure exactly what's happening, but I don't disagree with you. I really don't. I just don't know what it means. At the end of the day, I don't know what it means. But at the end of I can say at the end of the day, Ezra Miller needs help, and he needs, and really that should be what everybody's kind of focus should be on right now is to get him healthy, whatever that takes. The movies, who cares? You know, like who cares? Let's make sure that this dude is taken care of from a perspective of, you know, whatever restitution he needs to make, or whatever, you know, punishment he needs to take for you know, the situations that he's caused, the crimes or whatever that he's committed, and the people that he's, you know, done these crimes against see some sort of justice, you know. So he needs to, you know, the justice system needs to make sure that goes through, and that those types of things. And the secondary thing is, he needs to get some sort of assistance for whatever it is that's going on with him that's causing him to make these poor decisions. And I don't know what that is. So, so, you know, when we talk about it, we have to remember that there is multiple human beings who are involved in this, that are outside of just the nerdy Flash movie, you know, and all that stuff. And so that really is the fundamental thing that needs to get done is he's got to get well. The people that he's done crimes against, they need to be made whole again if they can, or whatever, you know, and justice needs to be done in that particular area. Yeah. And then, you know, if that means he's got to go around and make apologies to everybody and say, hey, you know what, I screwed up, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Then that's one thing. Yeah. At minimum. Yeah. At minimum. So, I don't know what that is, but yeah, so you're probably not wrong. So, well, moving on from there, two directors that I know are quite familiar with, the Russo brothers.
Love them. Yeah.
Are in the news because they are doing a new sci-fi adaptation of a movie. Right now it's called The Electric State is what they're calling it. So I don't know if that's actually, you know, what it's going to end up coming out as, or they'll change it, or, you know, if it maybe stays that way. I'm not sure. But Michelle Yeoh, Brian Cox, and a couple of more people have been cast in that, already added to a couple of small time people that you may or may not have heard of. A guy that we discussed earlier, Chris Pratt, and
Chris Prim.
Not Chris Prim, or Prime, or Prine. Chris Pratt, who does amazing magic tricks, by the way, in addition to being
amazing. Go watch that on YouTube.
Yeah. And then also a fairly modestly talented. She's modestly talented. I'll just say that. The phenomenal Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things and from the Godzilla movies. She's just dynamite in everything she does. So
incredible.
So what do you know about that? Tell us a little more.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Stanley Tucci is also being added.
Yeah, God, we love Stanley Tucci around here.
Love Stanley Tucci and Jenny Slate, who's well known for Parks and Rec.
Jenny Slate's voice. You know Jenny Slate's voice.
Yeah,
I will tell you
and
that.
Face, I'd say.
And face.
If you saw her face, you'd be like, oh, okay.
But if you've watched any animated movie, like if you have kids and you've watched any animated movie, I guarantee you will know her voice like right away. So
yeah, that's a great point. So cool to see the Russo brothers getting into the sci-fi genre. You know, the real sci-fi, not Marvel,
right?
In space fighting Thanos. I, first of all, love the Russo brothers. They're really the only thing I haven't really enjoyed from them is the movie Cherry with Tom Holland. Started watching it and couldn't. It was not good, and it didn't do well. It was very poorly rated. So
can't hit homers every
time. Of course, love The Gray Man. I know Meg is really into that movie right now. She's texted today saying watched it 4 times and is wondering if she has a problem. And
4 times.
Tell you the truth, Meg, maybe you may have a problem there.
I think she may have a problem. Yeah.
But this cast, I mean, no.
Did she watch them in her car? That's what I want to know. Did she watch them in her car with this audio system?
She did. To follow up, she did comment that she watched the new Andor trailer in her
in her car. Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Yeah.
She must have a really good sound system.
Must be. I hope the bass in my voice comes across really well in the car. You know.
Yeah. Hopefully I have more bass.
Hopefully, yeah. All right. Dial it up.
So this cast, okay, so Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, nothing more needs to be said about those two because just we love them.
Yep.
Brian Cox, just one of those guys, you know, like Brian Cox. He's in every freaking thing.
Yeah.
He's the main guy in Succession right now. So if you're wondering who Brian Cox is, he's just in so much. Michelle Yeoh has seen herself have quite the year with her role in Shang-Chi.
Yep.
And then I haven't watched this movie yet, but I have heard that it is everybody's favorite movie
of the year.
Everything Everywhere all at once.
Yes.
Apparently it's just a banger of a movie.
Yep.
So she's having congrats to Michelle Yeoh, and then gets cast in this movie. So here's what the Electric State is about. It's set in an alternative future and focuses on a teenage girl, obviously Millie Bobby Brown, who realizes that a strange robot who comes to her has actually been sent by her missing brother. She and the robot set out to find the brother in an imaginative world of humans mixing with all manner of robots, uncovering a grand conspiracy in the process. Holy shit, that sounds awesome. So everything with that being said, amazing. Nothing I just said I dislike.
Yeah.
The next thing is it's a Netflix movie. So listen, I think that Netflix puts out really good movies. They also put out some really shit movies.
Yeah.
But they're really good movies. I don't go into these movies thinking that they are going to be Oscar worthy or Best Picture. What I want from them is to be entertained.
Yep.
And I have been entertained like crazy with movies like Extraction, The Gray Man. What was the Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson movie? Red Notice.
Oh, Red Notice. Red Notice. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're very, very entertaining movies. They have cornered a market on these like original streaming movies that are big budget, they're not there to do anything other than entertain you. Yep. And maybe have some great rewatchability, because that is how they will get their money back. Right. And so, we've had a bit of a discussion recently with Morgan, who was not entertained with The Gray Man. Now, he did say that it's, when I said it was really good, he's like, so you're comparing it to Terminator 2, Gladiator, Die Hard. Like, I'm like, okay, you're naming the top 5 action movies of all time. Sure. I was not expecting Die Hard. Right. Yeah. I'd be entertained. I think all of that being said, I can't wait for this. That's my take. Yeah. So the nice thing about this is it's a graphic novel. It comes from a graphic novel. So a lot of the and I used to work for this. And Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely are penning the script, and they wrote The Gray Man. They wrote all the Captain America movies and Infinity War and Endgame, and they've done some other things. So when they team up with the Russos, the Marcus and McFeely writing duo, it's gold for me. Yeah. Gold.
I used to work with this dude. His name was McCat. It was not his Christian name or whatever. Yeah, McCat is what he was. McKatt. McCat. That was his nickname. That was his nickname. So yeah, he had a different name. I'm not going to say what it is, but name? But I remember one day we were having a discussion about comic books at work. And this was back prior to any of the other stuff. And he says, it makes no sense to me why Hollywood doesn't turn more comic book stuff into movies, because it's all laid out. It's all storyboarded out there for you. Like, you don't even have to do it. It's literally already storyboarded. And I was like, you know what, man, you're right. And now with like the rising success of all, here we now have had, since Iron Man really just a tremendous run for comic book movies and including the Batman stuff, like Dark Knight. It has been truly a magical run for
golden age
a lot of stuff.
Comic book movies.
So I like that this is I like that this is a graphic novel. I do like the premise of it. The cast sounds like a banger. I will qualify my criticisms of Netflix, and I'm not trying to walk anything back in any way, shape, or form because I'm
Sure.
not.
Right.
Like I said, it's they're not B movies, I guess that's the part that I think maybe comes across a little bit too negative from my particular opinion of Netflix and Netflix movies, because I don't feel like they're like an 11 o'clock movie that shows on Skinamax, like back, they used to have like original content that they did like way back in the day, and that's not what this is, and that's not what Netflix stuff is. So you're absolutely right. Like when I give a criticism of it, I just look at it and I go, I can't tell you what's wrong with it. I don't know why it just is like, and that's why I call it like the outlet mall. Like it looks just like what you want to buy, but for some reason there's just something not right about it, and I don't know what that is. And like almost every single one of them just seems to be missing some element, and I don't know what that element is. And perhaps it's not on the big screen. Perhaps maybe that's it to me, is like, when it's made for TV, I have this feeling in the back of my head that it's made
That's a really good point.
And that it's, like maybe if it was just like if they released it in the theater, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, like that's a legit movie. And
I would love to see The Gray Man in theaters. There are 9 action set pieces in that movie.
Yeah.
When the average action set pieces, there's like 4 in a movie.
Yeah.
There's 9 in this movie.
Yeah.
It is an incredible movie. Yes, Morgan, it's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining. The leads are great. Gosling and Evans are so charismatic.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton does his thing in that movie. The little girl in the movie is wonderful.
Yeah.
I do love this line from Christopher Marcus, one of the writers. He says, "This is a very human story about a teenage girl with all the powers of a teenage girl and nothing more."
It's yeah.
As
a dad of a teenage girl, I can tell you
you've had a teenage girl.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And I have another one that's
pretty freaking powerful.
I have another one that's only 5 short years away from being one as well. So
we have me too. We have some time.
Yeah. So I do before we move on to the next item on the list, I do want to circle back around to Brian Cox, who does have a Marvel credit to his name, by the way.
Yes, he does. He was Stryker. He was Stryker. X-Men 2.
Yep.
X-Men United.
Great.
And you know what?
He's a good villain in that.
Brian Castile, you need a comment on YouTube. Your joke that you said the other day about outlet mall, it was either fast food outlet mall. I don't know. I can't remember, but I knew I was going to forget it. And now you said outlet mall. And I'm like, Brian Castile is a really good joke. So please put it in the comment section there, Brian.
Yeah. Okay. So last item on the rundown for this week is we got a story and character breakdown for the upcoming Madam Web film. So fill us in on the details of that, because that one's coming from Sony, even though it's a Marvel, right? But it's
so let me explain. So Sony, has the rights to everything Spider-Man related. So there's like
all the Rogues Gallery stuff, right?
Even Rogues Gallery stuff, and so that's why Marvel had to make a deal with Sony to get Tom Holland into the MCU. And it's always like after every movie, they're like, "Oh, is there going to be no more Spider-Man in the MCU?" And Feige always gets it done. So Sony though has been creating their Marvel Spider-Man universe, and separate from the MCU. where you've seen movies like Venom and Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, Morbius. They are currently filming Kraven the Hunter. They're currently filming Kraven the Hunter with Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I saw some news on that earlier. Yep.
And then they're filming Madam Web, and this is the movie with Dakota Johnson as the titular character.
Yep.
What's really funny about this is we've been making fun of this movie for a while, since it was announced, basically. Because it's like a WTF. Like, what? How are you going to do a Madam Web story?
Right.
Not necessarily a huge character, but definitely has her importance now in the comics, and has always been there in the comics, even from the early 60s, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's never been like, what? And they even announced an El Muerto
right. I remember that
movie, which, oh God.
They're digging deep.
Anyway,
they're scraping the bottom of the barrel there,
Scraping the bottom. So Dakota Johnson as the titular character, Cassandra Webb. She is very intertwined with the Web of Life, which is kind of the Spider-Man quantum realm, connects to, it's kind of like one of those things that just is like, it's like the multiverse where it can connect to different universes.
Yeah.
And it's actually like they made it so that now this is where, like how Peter Parker has Spidey senses, because the Web of Life, he's connected through the Web of Life.
Got it.
Actually kind of dumb. It can't just be spider senses. Anyway, Sydney Sweeney. Sorry, Bill.
Up. Hold on, boy. You're gonna get.
First of all, sorry, Bill.
You're gonna get letters.
I'm sorry, please.
You're gonna get text messages. Yep.
Don't send me angry text messages. Sydney Sweeney was cast, and she could be cast as just a mime, and I wouldn't care. But she was cast as Julia Carpenter. We did not know that until this past week. And Julia Carpenter is one of the Madam Webs. There's two. So she also probably could be an amalgamation of that and Spider-Woman, which would be I think I'd be kind of upset about that.
All right.
She was at one time had the mantle of Spider-Woman. And then Celeste O'Connor is Maddie Franklin. I don't know that. Isabella Merced is Anya Corazon. Don't know anything about that. Now we get to some of the interesting stuff. Adam Scott is Ben Parker. So Uncle Ben. He's playing a young Uncle Ben. Mm-hmm. And Emma Roberts, Julia Roberts' niece, was cast as Mary Parker, Ben's sister.
Okay.
Now the story is coming out about what this movie is. It's a movie that shows how Madam Web sees through the future, through the web of life, that they need to make sure Spider-Man is born. So they get this ragtag team of Spider-Man characters, sure, not actual Spider-Man.
Yep.
But characters in Spider Universe, to protect Mary Parker, who is pregnant with Peter. So
okay.
So when I read that, I was like, oh my God, did they just make me interested in a Madam Web movie?
Yeah.
It's these characters that are teaming up to make sure Peter Parker is born, which a little bit irks me as a Spider-Man fan. I hate when it's like, oh, he's destined to be Spider-Man. It's just kind of always nice when it's like, hey, he was just a rando who got bit by a spider.
Yeah.
But I also, he's just too big not to have some kind of destiny to his story.
Yeah.
But okay, Adam Scott, if you're wondering who Adam Scott is, you for sure would know his face. But he was in projects like Parks and Rec, Step Brothers. He actually has one of the best scenes in Step Brothers when what's Agatha's name? Agatha Hart. What's the actress that played Agatha Hart?
I can't remember.
When him and his wife and kids sing "Sweet Child of Mine" in the car.
Right.
My name is Derek, and I can sing as Billy High. I love Adam Scott.
He's on that show Severance too, right? I think he's
which is getting huge acclaim.
Yeah.
That's an Apple Plus original.
Yep.
Okay, so with that being said, Eric, does this, as like somebody who, obviously is not massively into comics and know some of the backgrounds of some of these characters, does that excite you? Return question.
Yeah. No, but no, but I not for any reason other than I just don't I don't care about Spider-Man that much that I care that it's like a prequel to, like, there's a predestination of Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man or whatever. But I like who they've cast so far. I'm not a huge Dakota Johnson fan. Sydney Sweeney, I haven't watched her in anything, so I don't know anything, but I've seen pictures.
She's really talented.
That's what everybody keeps saying, that she's really, really talented. So we'll see what that means. I do like Adam Scott. I really do like him. And I've, I don't think I've seen anything that Emma Roberts is in. If I have, I don't know it.
She was in more TV stuff, and more geared towards your teenage daughters.
Well, so all in all,
Scream Queens, I think is the show.
Okay. I mean, all in all, I will probably, I'm cautious. I'm just gonna wait for the trailer and see how they link it. I really
Sure.
do. I just want to see what a trailer looks like before.
That's all that we need.
Yeah,
that's all we need.
Yep.
Right. And that at this point, you're like, it's a Madam Web movie. Don't know who that is.
Don't know who that is.
Most people don't know who that is.
Yep.
But to see more Ben Parker would be cool. And Ben Parker, Uncle Ben, is one of the most beloved characters who has like the smallest time. He's like the only character in comics who's never been brought back to life. That's actually like a funny saying. So everybody
gets a second chance.
Everybody gets brought back to life except for Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So do we need, is this like an Uncle Ben origin story? I don't know. Show me a trailer. But I will tell you, that is intriguing now. That is an intriguing project that I probably wouldn't have covered on the rundown until we got a trailer. Now that was intriguing enough for me to bring it on here. Put it number 5 on the rundown.
It's definitely down below on the list there. But yeah, I don't know. I'll wait for the trailer and see what happens. That's where I sit. So,
so let's move to the nerd box. Yep. And I bring up my phone because Meg sends in the first question, and I have her answer to this question on my phone, which it's a little confusing. We'll get into it. So Meg writes in, and this is actually a really cool question. I like this question a lot. Mm-hmm. She says, "Ever experienced a time when fan theories or discussions ruined or improved a movie TV show for you?" Her answer is there's not a direct answer. She prefaces it very well. She says, "It's not a direct answer, but I've started avoiding the comment section on Stranger Things posts because some of the theories are so stupid. Example, Joyce is actually Alice Vecna's sister. Just stop it, people." And other theories sound more likely, and I don't want spoilers. I actually do care about spoilers for this show, for Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Usually I can just be like, the killer was blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is Luke's dad.
Right. Man.
You wouldn't care.
What's the line from The Simpsons where Homer and Marge come out of Empire Strikes Back and like all these people are waiting in line to see the movie, and Homer goes, he's like walking by everybody and he goes, "Man, who would have thought that Darth Vader was Luke's dad?"
Yes.
And everybody in line's like, "Oh, come on, man."
It's the greatest plot twist in movie history, even though Vader means father in German.
Yeah, that's right. I I will say that yes to both those. I've had it improve and somewhat ruin an experience, and it is Star Wars on the ruin
Related?
side.
Okay.
Like I feel like Star
Okay.
Wars, I feel like there have been, especially during the prequel series, there was so much stuff that was flying around the internet, and I used to read this. I used to read this one website called Ain't It Cool News, and they always had like
yes, they had a really good Brian Cox like running joke actually. Ain't It Cool News with Harry.
Ain't It
Harry
Cool
Knowles.
News, and so
Anytime I hear Brian Cox,
there was all kinds of it kind of ruined it for me. You know, it really did, because I was like, man. And this goes back to appointment television days. Where you didn't get to binge watch everything. And I would say and maybe there's another one that's kind of like this, more recent, although I do save it till the end and watch it until I binge it. But I would say Lost, the fan base for Lost had, like, no matter how bonkers that show was in like real life, like what the writers actually came up, what the fans came up with was so much crazier sometimes, where you watched it, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see. And then you're like, I wasn't saying I'm disappointed, but like sometimes we're like something like something mind blowing would happen on the show, and you're like, I can't wait to see what kind of theories people throw out for that. So Lost was one that I feel is definitely improved by the fan base, you know, just having some wild theories and stuff of really cool stuff. And then I would say probably the same thing with Westworld. I feel like there's a lot of mystery around that, and that fan base actually helped me quite a bit that first season, because there was a lot of stuff that I did not see in that first season when I watched it, that other people picked up on, and I was like, oh man, that's super cool, you know? So yeah, so those would be my two. How about you?
No, those are great answers, especially the Lost, because I think that's a really good point. Like, no matter whether you liked the ending or you didn't like the ending, the fan base is so divided on that it's like I have a hard time engaging in conversation about the end of Lost, because some people are just, they're so fixated on their opinion that it's just like, well, here's the line, we're not crossing it.
Yep.
And so it's not fun. But I love talking about Lost with the Lost community.
Yep.
When it, not necessarily when it, they don't have to agree with me, but if they are willing to like hear out, you know, a different perspective.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one. And that makes me think of Heroes, same kind of thing. Like,
that's a good one. Yep.
I love that first season of Heroes is really when I got into like online community.
Yeah.
That was the first time, because I was on Ain't It Cool News.
Yep.
And that was the first username I've ever used online to comment on things. AIM doesn't count.
AOL Instant Messenger, baby.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that first season of Heroes was so magical, and I would dedicate like a half hour of my morning to like engage in conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that. I don't think that our conversation around Obi-Wan necessarily ruined it for me, but I was really trying really hard to have you guys see a different perspective on that. And your comment about Leia's not your character, I thought really kind of changed my opinion on this show. Like in that recording of that episode, like I was like, oh, you're so right. Don't put Leia in it. And, you know, that makes it a lot better. But it didn't ruin it for me. I still love that show. And actually, Brian Castile caught up on that show recently, and we had a long conversation about it, and we are in agreement about 100% of it. So
again, like, not to beat a dead horse, I liked Obi-Wan. I didn't
We heard the episode, Eric. No.
Yeah, I liked the episode.
fine.
I liked the series. It could have been better. That's all. Just could have been better.
I get you. I did see a comment that was like, you know what? Her reaction in episode 4 when he's like, "I'm here with Ben Kenobi," having that like be validated now, I think is great. And
Yeah.
people will, have their opinions on how she messages him, but don't put Leia as the character, and I think that that's really changed my mind. Anyway,
Yep.
Okay. Next on the Nerd Box, from the Nerd Box, Tracy Bittner writes in, if you could time travel, but you could only time travel 80 years in the past or 80 years in the future, which one do you choose and why? Here's the tricky part about time travel questions. If you don't put parameters to their questions, I'm going to have questions like, for example, how long do I get to stay? Do I get to go back at my, can I go back and forth? Or am I there for a week and that's it? So, okay. Now that I may have ruined the question, Eric, do you have an answer for Tracy first?
Yeah. I have no desire to go back in time. I would want to see what the future holds.
1942.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to go back to that time.
The post depression world, like right at the beginning of World War II.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Right in the middle of World War II, really. So,
so your Captain America became Cap.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I have no desire to go back.
Why would you not see the future?
Yeah.
That's the answer.
For me, it's the future.
Why would you not pick the future?
Yeah, I would want to see where things are.
Do I have Google in 80 years? Because I'm Googling what the next line.
I mean, and it could be, like I've thought about this question in the past before, and it kind of breaks my heart like a little bit, because you think to yourself, it's like, okay, if you look at the past, or you want to look at the past or you want to look at the future, what is the past going to tell you that you don't already know? But then when you look at the future, can I do anything about it? Like if you were to go into the future, would you be able to do anything to make things different? And that is the part that actually makes me the most sad, is like, when you really think about it, like I like if you go into the future, nothing I do is going to change what happened there, and so going back, and
which is why the new Marvel time travel rules that are so much better for a movie universe than the Back to the Future rules.
So then you come back, and it's like another original movie. We'll talk about Amazon original movie that actually was pretty decent, was The Tomorrow War with
that's right,
with Chris Pratt. And one of the
Brian has some comments about that. That
was interesting also because of the we need to get Bryant back on the show. We just
I was just thinking. I literally just that thought I was like, man, why haven't we had Bryant back on?
We need to figure out a time that works for him,
Brian,
so we can have him.
You need to let us know when you're available.
Yeah. Because like the Tomorrow War is actually interesting because they even figure it out. Him and his buddy, they figure it out. They're like, hey, have you noticed that everybody here is like not past a certain age? Like none of these people were born, at that time. He says, and the rest of us, I think we're all dead at that time period. And it's just like, oh, well, that makes sense. And so they start working this stuff out. And I feel like you could go forward in time and see what happens, and then you have the sadness of coming back to your time. I assume that I'm able to come back to my time and live out the rest of my years and not see the 80 years into the future, but I would have this knowledge of when certain things happened, or potentially happen, and not be able to do anything about it. Like, it's just, that would be.
Do you travel
depressing.
80 years in the future and the Earth is just scorched from.
Well, that's and that's like a potential. Like that's a potential thing that could happen. Like what happens if I travel 80 years into the future and literally 10 minutes from now,
the Earth has warmed up so much then.
Yeah, and so you come back and there's like literally nothing you can do. I mean, I'm sure there's a movie. There's a movie in this theory, or in this question. There's
absolutely.
There's a movie in this that you can
I bet there's a really cool movie that you can like and you at the beginning of the movie it like talks about like you have this choice, go into the future 80 years, go into the past 80 years.
Right.
What do you choose? That'd be really cool. Maybe it's like something that maybe that's our $1 million idea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You ever see
Great question, though.
I think I've talked about it before on the show. You ever see super low budget time travel movie called Primer? You ever seen it?
That sounds familiar. Very familiar. I obviously don't remember it well, so
it's way better than it should have been, and I haven't seen it in a long time, so it may not have aged quite as well, but there's zero special effects in it for the most part. It's all just and I know the acting is not all that fantastic, but overall it's a pretty good setup. So
one of my favorite all-time time travel movies, maybe a little underrated in my opinion, is Time Cop with Van Damme.
I love Time Cop.
I love that movie.
Love that movie. Yeah.
I love it.
I love that movie. What's his name?
That's a movie I could see them rebooting soon.
I wouldn't be sad about that at all. And that's actually based on a comic book. Also, Time Cop was a comic book. That's where it came from.
Absolutely.
But
anyway, great question, Tracy.
Yep.
Keep them coming.
That's one of those movies where Time Cop is one of those movies. Sorry, before we move on, where your villain carries your movie better, carries your movie further.
Totally.
Because Ron Silver's bad guy in that movie.
He's so good.
He's so good. Like your hero is way down, and then his wife Mia Sara, who was from whatever it was, but there was some really good supporting
typical 90s
people.
Villain. He was such a good 90s. He was actually really kind of an 80s villain in a 90s
movie. And not that I'm bagging on Van Damme, because I do love Van Damme movies. I'm not gonna say I didn't like. I thought it was great. There's fun stuff in that. It's a good time travel movie.
Absolutely. All right, well, I'll close with a bit of a late notice on this, but last week we released, and this is including Rundown Presents, TV show reviews, everything we've done. Last week was our 100th episode that we released, and I thought that we got the notification from our software that we use, and I'm like, I wish I would have known that pre-show. Maybe I should keep more closer attention to that. But 100th show, last week's show was our 100th show, and I did kind of get a little emotional at the end of it. Just among many things, but thanking a lot of the people who have been a part of this show, to include Meg, to include Brian, to include Brett, Morgan, for sure, Morgan, Bill, Jason, everybody's been involved in this show. And then, chief among them, you, Eric, cannot thank you guys enough. I was pretty proud of that when I saw that notification pop up. Me too. And we're taking a break from Presents right now, because what we want Presents to be is, we want it to be different from the Nerd Rundown. We want it to be a deep dive show or a game show, or something where we have more time to focus on one subject. Right. And while there are plenty of opportunities out there, we also have our own lives. So we're trying to figure out, a cadence for releasing Presents. And some of y'all have given us some really great ideas. So we're not short on ideas, just time, life stuff. I think we're all close to having our kids go back to school, so maybe we get more into a routine, a better schedule.
Yep.
But Presents will be back. I was asked that. We are not getting rid of the Nerd Rundown Presents, and actually, when it does come back, it'll be better than ever.
Yep.
And more improved. Getting some artwork done for it. We might have our own theme song for it, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to bringing the Presents back. Believe me, I love deep diving into a singular topic.
Right.
I miss that from our early days, So it's coming back, and to the next 100 shows, it will be a part of it. So thank you, everybody who's been involved in this. But thank you to the nerds out there who have helped us get to a point where we are publishing 100 episodes. Very proud of that.
It doesn't even seem possible to me. I'm like,
That's
holy smokes, like how could we have done 100 episodes already? But we have, and it's been terrific. We celebrated a year in April. Now we're at 100 episodes, and I'm thinking to myself, holy smokes, like things are just moving along, and I'm having a great time doing it. I can't thank you enough, and Meg and Morgan, Brett, Jason, Bill, all those guys, everybody who's been on, Bryant, who's been on the show, and that's just been really, really fun interacting with people who listen to the show that I would never have even thought would listen to the show and stuff.
Whenever they're like, oh, you know about my show? Like, oh, right. That's weird.
Yeah.
I even I like to people and like getting to know, I have a little bit of an adverse, well, it's for nerds. And
right.
That's like the exact opposite I would of what I want for this show, because the central premise of this show is we are all a nerd in our own way.
Right. And
we want to celebrate all the different kinds of nerds.
Yeah.
Which is why the Presents is good, because it gives us a chance to do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've often thought, and I think we've discussed it, we've kicked it around, of bringing people on who maybe aren't, like for me, for the lawn care stuff, I'd love to bring a nerd. I'd love to bring somebody who's like nerdy about lawn care on, and like just have them deep dive and talk about why they're passionate and nerdy about that. Or like beer,
Absolutely.
like have people like who brew their own beer or do their own,
seriously
do their own stuff. Cause it's like, hey man, like, or like, guys who turn wrenches on engines and stuff. And they're like, you know what? I get up in the morning, I go to work, but I cannot wait to get in the garage and work in my garage like all night, and all weekends. And that's what they like to do, so yeah.
That's what I like. Yeah, exactly.
Because they're nerds. And, like whether they know it or not, they're a nerd when it comes to that. So
you can nerd out. This is what I say to people. I'm like, everybody's a nerd in their own way.
Yeah.
You can nerd out about anything. So let's nerd out together. With that being said, we'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.